The 7 habits of highly effective people. And this is the first habit. The first habit is habit 1, be proactive. You're in charge, all right? And that's what it's saying. I am a responsible person. I take initiative. No one else is responsible for me except me. How many kids come up to you and say, well, he told me to do that, or it wasn't my fault. That student over there, caused me to pick up my chair and shove it across the room. That kid made me do that. It's like that old adage. If someone told you to jump off the bridge, would you do it? And you ask kids that. That's habit number 1. Responsible leaders are proactive. I'm in charge of me. Everyone say that with me. I'm in charge of me. Very good. All right? The second thing is we got to begin with the end in mind. How can we know where we're going if we don't start with that end in mind? So many times in life we just go day by day and we live day by day. And I know we're all busy and you guys live day by day, right? Well, guess what? We got to begin with the end in mind. At the beginning of the school year, we have that end goal. We're going to increase student achievement. We're going to help kids better themselves, and they're going to grow a year's worth of growth. That's at the beginning with the end in mind, because we have a clear vision. If you give kids an end goal, they're going to work towards it. And so that's what's cool about habit 2. This one's very important. Habit 3, put first things first. So many times kids want to have the playtime and video games and cell phones and all that before homework. Sometimes we're like that in adult life. Sometimes we know that if we go home and we turn on the TV instead of doing housework or doing all those chores that we have, guess what's going to happen? That stuff is never going to disappear. That's why we put first things first. Get it out of the way, those important things, and then we can relax and enjoy. Cheryl Vermillion, our reading coach, showed us that video about eating the frog. If you don't eat it first thing in the morning, that frog is just dwelling over your head. And you know that that frog is going to be there until you get to it. So why not eat it first? I'm not telling you guys to go eat a frog, all right? Join with me now. But listen, it's so cool because we've got to remember that first things come first. We've got to prioritize, and then we're going to be more effective as a leader and a person. This one is my favorite. Think win-win. There doesn't have to be a loser. Everyone in life can win, but we have to be willing to compromise. It can't be about me. It's got to be about the team. I like to tell my class all the time, we're a team. When we sink together like the Titanic. And when we float, we're going to float together. So that means when one person wins, we all win because we're a team. But when one person messes up, unfortunately, we all sometimes are going to mess up. And that's why we want kids to remember that it's a win-win situation. And one teacher shared, and this was a teacher, and I know that I'm not one that's going to get up in front of a crowd and say something that doesn't happen in my classroom, so I really appreciate this teacher saying it. But she says, now I can tell kids, think win-win, go back to that back door, and I want you two to solve your disagreement. And you know what? She says within 10 minutes they walk away and say, we thought win-win. And you know what? We both agree on this. And a teacher telling me that, I believe it, because I know teachers are all in the same boat. The same with you guys. In daycare, when you see them out at recess, or when you're working with kids even on the sidewalk, you know what? There's a lot of times where kids are going to disagree. But if they think win-win, if they think we can both win, if I give a little and I take a little, then we're going to be more successful. It's really cool to watch how leaders grow. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So many times as adults, especially when we're working with kids, we want them to hear our side first. Well, let me tell you what the procedure is in this classroom, sir. And sometimes kids just need to be understood. Sometimes they act it out probably because of something that's going on at home. So if we start with ears, end with mouth, then sometimes we're going to be more proactive in handling situations. The same with coworkers. Sometimes we just got to listen, and then we can speak. And you know what? A lot of wisdom comes from a silent mouth sometimes. And that's important for us to remember. Kids want to be heard. Then we can say, well, this is what the procedure is in my classroom. But first, let's seek first to listen to them. And so that's really cool. All right? Habit 6, synergize. That means we work together. It's better as a team, right? Everything's better as a team. And that's why we want to teach kids that in the real world, we got to work with people. I haven't met one job yet, unless you're like a telemarketer on the phone or, virtual school teachers. But I've not met anybody in the world that hasn't had to work with someone, right? Raise your hand if you've ever had to work with someone before. Have you had to work? Have you guys had to work with people? Yeah, good job. All right, I know we've had to work with people, and I've worked with some difficult people. Raise your hand if you've ever worked with a difficult person before. Oh, now I've got audience participation. I knew if I asked about those difficult people. Oh, you got 2 hands up, brother?
I work with a lot of people.
Oh, a lot of people, brother. You got it. Well, listen, sometimes we got to learn to put our differences aside and synergize. We get more accomplished as a unit than as an individual. We want kids to learn that. Sometimes we're going to put our differences aside, learn to work together, and we're going to accomplish more. That's what habit 6 says, and that's why we synergize. And last but not least, and I think all of us would agree, we don't do this enough, habit 7 is we have to sharpen the saw. Effective leaders take time for me. That's tough sometimes in the busy world. We have a new baby coming along the way, and it's going to be tough for parents to take time for me sometimes. That's why grandmas are here, right? That's what you like. They like sharpening the saw because they get to babysit. But you know what, guys? The only way we're going to grow as people is to take time for ourselves. And we got to sharpen the saw by doing things that we enjoy. And you know what? That's going to make us more effective when we're out in our jobs and in the real world, is when we take time for me. Balance feels best. And we got to learn to sharpen that saw more often. And so that's important. So those are the 7 habits of highly effective people. Those are the 7 habits of highly effective kids also. And that's what Stephen Covey realized. When he wrote the book, he said that's what people need. But you know what? If we started with them as kids, right, we're going to be able to get them. And you know what? It's not we're going to catch every student with it, but we're going to catch a lot more than we are now. Because you know, Character Ed has been around for a long time. We've done Character Words of the Month. We've held posters up. We've done Second Step. This is a child swinging at recess. This is a child kicking him. Why is that not appropriate? You know, we've all been through those little monologues with kids, and it doesn't work. This works because it's teaching kids that they are responsible and they are leaders. And you know what? We've got to give them those opportunities to shine. So that's what the 7 habits is going to look like at Woodlawn, and we're excited to do that. And right now, and I've got some prizes, I want you guys to work at the table. I thought, how cool would it be, since we're celebrating new parents, since these are 7 habits of highly effective people, how could parents use these 7 habits? How could
and then you're conked out with them, right? And that's right. All sit together. All right. I like that one. Well, what did you put over there? What are you putting first things first? Yeah. How about being proactive?
But are we following it as a...
Yeah, as like new parents, yeah. How would, being proactive? You're responsible, right, for that baby. That's it. You're responsible for what happens to that baby. You're responsible if it's fed correctly. You're responsible for, you got to take charge of it. I mean, if it's up in the middle of the night, you got to wake up and you got to, you're being proactive by taking charge of that. What was the third?
And turn on the monitor. She said it. I did not know you were over here taping.
When I work at church, that's what it is. Because I'm not. So it is kind of like, why? Why are you crying right now? I mean, you want me to feed you?
When you
Does your diaper need change? It's like that communication.
When you have a lot of...
But in the end, I got to be proactive.
Cooperation and
try all.
kids
Yeah,
like
you got to
that.
have a plan.
You see kids are like, I'll do it myself. Or,
Well, like
that
you're
kind of thing. They get mad.
As a parent, you got to be responsible. In the end, you're